Imagine stepping into a world where survival depends entirely on the land beneath your feet. How did the Native Americans and Pilgrims, facing harsh climates and unfamiliar terrain, manage to grow crops against all odds? These early farmers unlocked the secrets of nature and groundbreaking agricultural techniques that were both innovative and sustainable. These techniques were so effective, they laid the groundwork for practices that we still rely on today. From using fish as a powerful natural fertilizer to the genius of the Three Sisters planting method, their resourcefulness not only fed entire communities, but also shaped the future of farming. Join us as we uncover these fascinating ancient agricultural secrets and discover how they achieved such extraordinary success. Long before the arrival of the Pilgrims, Native American tribes developed advanced farming techniques tailored to their surroundings. Right here, I'm actually in Massachusetts. Central to their success was the Three Sisters method, a brilliant system of planting corn, beans, and squash together in a way that allowed each crop to support the other. This wasn't random chance. It was a calculated approach to maximizing the land's potential while conserving resources. As historian Charles C. Mann observed, Native Americans don't simply live lightly on the land. They actively transform vast areas of forest and plain into productive gardens, showcasing their agricultural ingenuity. The Three Sisters method is a brilliant example of how Native Americans harnessed the power of nature to create sustainable and highly productive farming systems. This planting technique isn't just about growing three crops together. It's about understanding and leveraging the unique strengths of each plant to support and benefit the others. So let's break it down further and explore why this method has stood the test of time. Corn. The first crop to be planted acts as the backbone of the Three Sisters method. Its tall, sturdy stalks provide a natural pole for the beans to climb, eliminating the need for additional supports like stakes or trellises. This ingenious use of corn showcases how Native Americans maximized efficiency by letting nature do the work. Beans. The second crop in this trio play a vital role in the soil health. Through the process of nitrogen fixation, beans pull nitrogen from the air and convert it into a form that enriches the soil, making it available for all three plants. This natural fertilizer boosts the growth of corn and squash without the need for chemical inputs. If you're curious to dive deeper into how nitrogen fixation works, check out the video linked here. Squash rounds out the dynamic partnership by providing ground-level support. Its large, sprawling leaves create a living mulch that shades the soil, helping it retain moisture and suppress weeds. This ground cover reduces the need for frequent watering and weeding, making the system less labor-intensive while protecting the soil from erosion and nutrient loss. When planted together, corn, beans, and squash form a self-sustaining mini ecosystem. Each plant fills a specific niche, contributing to the overall health and productivity of the system. Corn provides the structure, beans the nutrients, and squash shields the soil, creating a perfect balance. This method doesn't just grow food, it fosters a harmonious relationship between plants and the environment, embodying sustainability at its core. Next, I'm going to share exactly how to plant this method, but first, if it isn't a hassle, like this video and subscribe to our channel. By hitting the like button, you're helping others discover this content, and subscribing means you'll never miss out on practical garden tips, fascinating history, science, and sustainable techniques to transform your garden. Successful farming is as much about timing as it is about technique, and the Native Americans mastered this balance through generations of observation and practice. They aligned their planting schedules not just with the changing seasons, but also with the natural indicators in the environment. For instance, some tribes observed trees or the appearance of certain flowers, such as when oak leaves were said to reach the size of a mouse's ear, as a signal that the soil was warm enough to plant corn. This method of phenology using natural events to guide agricultural timing, helped attune their practices to local climates and ecosystems. Corn was always planted first, in late spring, around May, after the last frost and once the soil had warmed sufficiently. This ensured strong germination and early growth. A few weeks later, beans were planted near the corn, taking advantage of the corn stalks as a natural support for climbing. Squash was either planted with the beans or slightly earlier, depending on the specific conditions and the tribe. The timing of each crop was deliberately designed to maximize the benefits of the Three Sisters system. What a tongue twister. Seeds were sown in small mounds or hills, which offered several advantages. The mounds improved drainage, retained warmth in the soil, and reduced the risk of root rot. Each mound contained 4 to 6 seeds spaced strategically to prevent overcrowding and to allow for healthier growth. The mounds themselves were spaced about 4 feet apart, ensuring adequate room for the sprawling squash vines and easy access for tending and harvesting. This careful attention to timing and technique resulted in a reliable and abundant harvest year after year. By syncing their agricultural practices with the rhythms of nature, Native Americans not only ensured the success of their crops, but also deepened their connection to the land. This legacy of precise, sustainable farming practices continues to inspire gardeners and farmers today. One of the most fascinating aspects of Native American agriculture was their use of fish as a natural fertilizer. Coastal tribes utilized fish like menhaden, alewives, and shad, which were plentiful during spawning seasons. These fish were buried about 6 inches deep in the planting mounds beneath the corn seeds. As the fish decomposed, they released essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. This natural fertilizer enriched the soil and sustained strong crop growth, demonstrating an early form of sustainable agriculture. Native American agriculture was not just innovative, it was also communal. Land was cultivated collectively, and harvests were shared amongst the community. Fields often spanned several acres and efficiently fed entire villages. Unlike monoculture farming, which exhausts the soil, their intensive intercropping methods allowed for maximum use of space, reducing the amount of land needed per person. These practices supported cities larger than many in Europe at the time, underscoring the incredible agricultural ingenuity of native societies. When the Pilgrims arrived, they faced an unfamiliar climate and poor soil conditions that made growing European crops like wheat and barley nearly impossible. Their early attempts at farming failed, and their survival hung in the balance. Their fortunes changed, however, when Squanto, a member of the Patuxet tribe, stepped in to help. Squanto shared the Native Americans' method, teaching the Pilgrims to plant corn and fertilize their fields using fish. Under Squanto's guidance, the Pilgrims adopted Native American farming techniques. They planted corn using fish as fertilizer, just as the tribes had done for generations. They also embraced the Three Sisters system, intercropping beans and squash with their corn to create healthier, more productive fields. The Pilgrims used local fish like herring and alewives, burying 1 per corn to provide essential nutrients. These practices were critical to their survival and played a major role in their successful harvest of 1621. Which is still celebrated as the first Thanksgiving. Adapting to a new land was no small feat for the Pilgrims. Like the Native Americans, they planted in the spring, usually starting with corn in April or May when the soil had warmed. Initially, farming was a communal effort, driven by scarce resources and the need for collective survival. But over time, land cultivation shifted towards individual plots, allowing the families to grow what they needed and independently. Early on, each family managed about 1 to 2 acres of farmland. As the Pilgrims gained more experience, though, and knowledge about their environment, they expanded their fields and refined their agricultural practices, paving the way for more sustainable food production. While the tools used by the Native Americans and Pilgrims were different, their goals were remarkably similar. Native Americans crafted tools from materials readily available in nature, such as wood and bone. These tools were practical and effective for their needs, and the Pilgrims brought iron tools, including hoes and spades, which they adapted to the challenge of the New World. Both groups faced similar obstacles, such as soil fertility issues, pests, and had to learn how to work with the land to overcome them. Their resourcefulness and willingness to innovate were key to their agricultural success. Farming in the New World presented many challenges. The harsh climate with its cold winters and unpredictable weather patterns pushed both Native Americans and Pilgrims to their limits. Poor soil fertility often resulted in disappointing harvests, prompting innovative solutions like fish fertilization. Pests, including new species unfamiliar to the settlers, also posed significant problems. These challenges, however, fostered resilience and ingenuity. By collaborating and adopting these methods, both groups found ways to thrive despite the difficulties. The agricultural practices of both the Native Americans and the Pilgrims were largely sustainable, though not without their limitations. Using fish as fertilizer was not an effective and environmentally friendly method due to the abundance of fish at the time, but concerns about overfishing eventually began to emerge. The Three Sisters method, however, exemplified sustainability. By promoting biodiversity and enriching soil, the system ensured long-term productivity. Together, these practices showcased early forms of sustainable agriculture that remain relevant today, maybe even more so now than in the past 10 years. What can we learn from these ancient practices? First, intercropping, as seen in the Three Sisters method, is an excellent way to maximize space and foster healthy plant growth. Companion planting, like combining nitrogen-fixing beans with corn and squash, can improve soil quality and yield. Second, natural fertilizers such as compost or fish emulsion can enrich soil without relying on the synthetic chemicals. Finally, the communal spirit of Native American agriculture teaches us the value of sharing resources and knowledge to achieve success together. These time-tested methods offer valuable insight for modern sustainable gardening. It's important to honor the wisdom of the Native American farmers and the collaborative spirit that helped the Pilgrims adapt to the New World. Their agricultural heritage offers timeless lessons in sustainability, community, and respect for the land. By learning from their example, we can cultivate a deeper connection to the earth and to each other. By understanding and applying these time-honored agricultural practices, we can grow healthier gardens while connecting with rich history of stewardship and innovation. Now, why not try this Three Sisters method in your own garden? If this exploration of ancient agriculture inspired you, don't forget to like, share with fellow gardeners, and subscribe for more insights into sustainable gardening practices. Let's cultivate knowledge and grow. If you found this video helpful, take a moment this Thanksgiving to honor the Native Americans whose agricultural brilliance made it all possible. And if it's almost spring as you're watching this, why not plant corn, beans, and squash in your own garden? It's a timeless way to grow with nature. Thanks kindly for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights, tips, and stories to inspire your gardening and health. See you next time. While we're striving to provide accurate historical information, some details may vary due to historical record limitations or simply me getting it wrong. Always feel free to explore more and share your findings. And if I got something wrong, please let me know in the comments. It wasn't done on purpose.